Hi and welcome. Thanks for joining us as we take this opportunity to take a look at everything Google Suite on your iPad. So let's get started with today's lesson. So let's take a look at Google Classroom on the iPad, how to get started with it, how to set up classes and the functionality on your iPad through the app. So first thing I'm going to do is go and open the Classroom app on my device. And I'm already logged in, I've already signed into my account, and here are some sort of previous demo classrooms that I've utilized. But it's great that you can see everything in one place, and the ability to kind of personalize each one of your classes helps it really easy to navigate around all of those classes. A couple of the buttons, and there's not that many on here to get you started. First one is the sandwich icon in the top, which just gives you that quick overview of everything, gives me access to my classes, gives me access to the calendar in each one of those individual classes, and quick links to the folders and any archive classes you might have. The second tab is the plus icon here, which allows me to create a new class or join a class. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we would create a new class on the iPad. Again, nice and simple to get started with this. First of all, it's going to ask you for a class name and ask you to put this into a section. So I might say this is professional development. And that's useful because it's going to help you to organize things, down the line. If you are teaching in a room, obviously you can specify the room. My room is actually going to be online, and then obviously specify that subject again. So we'll just say this is iPad, and I'm going to go tap on create, and that's as simple as it is. 4 quick lines of information, and we've created our class. So it's just going to go through the process of setting that up on the device. And there we go, so it's created my class, and I can go through, there's been some updates, and so it's going to tell me about those things. We're going to have a look at how this works with Meet a little bit later in another video. So just dismiss that for now. So let's just have a look. This is the class, this is how it's all been set up. Along the bottom, you'll be familiar with these, and we'll take a look at the web version in a second, similar to how we did with Drive in a previous video. Just to have a look at the comparisons, the similarities between working on the app or working on the web version of Classroom through Safari. Down the bottom, I have the tabs, which you'll be familiar with if you use Classroom already. Access to my stream, so this is where that conversation takes place with the class, whether the students are sharing information about things that they've done in lessons, etc. My classwork tab, so any assignments that I might have created, and again, we can tap on the plus here to create them. And then the people, so who's in the class. So I can add in additional teachers and I can add in the students. Now, it's really, really easy to add in the students. I can tap on the plus. A couple of ways to do it. I can share a link for the class that students can just tap on and be invited to the class, which is nice and easy. Tap on share. If they were in the room with me, I can airdrop it to their devices. They can join, or I can do it through any one of the additional means of sharing information through the share extensions on the iPad. I can just copy the link and stick it into an email if I want to, or I can just go ahead and start typing in their name. So I've got this as a training account, so I can just show you the simplicity of adding in these students, and you'll know that if you've obviously got groups already set up within Google, you should be able to just actually type on the class name, and it's going to add all of your students in one go as well. So nice and simple, really, really easy to add students to your class. Once they've been invited, they will join my class, and here we go, here's my students. If I then go to classwork, very, very brief overview, and we'll have a look at this in a little bit more detail in a future video. We have those access to all of those things that we want to add for my students in order to continue their classwork, their homework, their directed study, whatever it is you call it. We can add in assignments. Very, very simple. Again, the title, the instructions that you want to give them. It says optional. I think students really benefit if you give them that little bit of extra guidance about things. Marking, what's it going to be marked out of, when's it going to be due. And then again, the topic, really, really useful to add in here, just because it's going to help you down the line in terms of understanding the different functions, and to add in new assignments. If you need to utilize an assignment again, in future lessons, you'd be able to find it really easy. So we'll just say that this is Google Classroom is our topic. There we go. So we add all of those in. There we go. And simple as that, we just have created my assignment, and then a few options at the top. I can link documents to this, which is really useful. Again, anything in my drive, links to anything on the internet. I might want them to read a piece of information. I might have this already done as paper, and what's great here is to just take a photo of it and just upload it, so I can digitize, you know, some of my analog bits of information. Again, file, useful to point out, it doesn't just link to the Google stuff, it also links, if I go back to locations, everything that's on my device in terms of any other cloud storage as well. So that's useful to know of other things you can add in. And then the final one is just your photos, you know, so it's just going to open up my photos album and allow me to choose a photo that I might have previously taken or a video that I've previously taken. The ellipses then just allow you to schedule this. So if I don't want this to go out straight away, I could schedule it for a different date and a different time. That can be quite useful to not overload the students with all of their assignments on the day that you go creating them all. That can be quite overwhelming. You might want to create them all on one day because that's you being organized, but you might want them to be released at certain times so students don't feel that they've got this sort of overload of assignments all being set at the same time. And then finally, obviously, we need to share that. So we tap on the share button and that's created that. So that's now been sent out to all of those students and the assignment's been created. So now when I go into classwork, I can see that my assignment is here. If I go into the assignment itself, and again, we'll go into more detail this later, the instructions, if I'd added the instructions in here, would be in more detail, and then I would have overview of the students' work. At this point, no students have handed anything in, obviously, because I've only just assigned it, but I would be able to see all of the students' work handed in here and go through the process of marking it. But again, we'll look at that in a future video. So there we go, that's it in terms of what Google Classroom looks like through the app. Let's take a look at how that compares with the web version. So to get to the web version, I'm just going to jump into Safari. I've already got my Google Drive open here. I have deleted the app because otherwise it's going to try and take me to the app each time. So I'm just going to tap on the waffle and go to Google Classroom, which is down the bottom. And you see now it's just going to open this within the web browser for me. Gives me the idea that it wants me to download the app. I don't want to do that at this point, and I just need to change my account to my dummy account. And here we go. So you'll see, you know, again, looks very similar to what you would see on the web browser on a desktop, because the Safari desktop is a really useful and powerful tool on the iPad. Here's the class that we set up previously, so you'll see that I still have access to everything. This is that first view, and again, you know, we talked about this before, there's just a few additional options that you'll see. I still have access to the waffle, so I can jump around my apps really easily. I can still create and join new classes really easily, and I get that that sandwich icon here, so I can just see everything in a snapshot. But within each class as well, you know, they just look a little bit different. So I can go straight to my grade book, I can go straight to the folder with all of the students' work in it, and I have kind of, you know, more options within this, doing it through the browser. When I'm in this, you know, we can see that it's the same as I had before in terms of the options. They're just in a different place. So before they were lined up along the bottom, now they're along the top. So I still have that stream, that conversation piece. I still have access to that classwork, and I have that assignment that I set for my students just previously through the app. I can see the people, and I now have a quick access to grades. So I haven't done any grading yet, so I can't see it, but we would have access to that. So again, you know, everything is in the same place. Everything is still as functional, whether we're doing this through the app or doing this through Safari, but there are just additional features that potentially make life a little bit easier doing it one way or the other. So it's great to have options. We always love options. So there we go. We're going to talk about Google Meet a little bit later in a different video. Really useful tool, obviously, with online learning and distance learning taking precedent over the last few months. It's really useful to have that built in. Having the calendar view is really useful. Again, it's going to jump to my my app because I've got the app installed. but it's going to show you your calendars that you will have access to. I don't think I've got anything in my calendars at the moment because this is a training account and don't tend to use it all the time, but it will give me direct access to my calendars. And then obviously that Google Class folder, and again there's nothing in here because the students haven't added anything and I haven't added anything yet, but again quick access to move around within your classroom to all of those things that you need. So there we go, there's Google Classroom on the web versus Google Classroom as an app, and a quick overview of just getting started with your class.